where the truth is being said or told the way it is. Thank you very much for joining us today. I've got some beautiful and handsome, fantastic guests with us who is going to be discussing with us regarding immigration issues in the African community. And we're going to get you guys to phone in. You can also write on the live comment box regarding some questions you would like to ask my special guests who are here today to talk about issues. Or you can also phone the telephone number 0208 004 6100. Or you can also call the mobile number 0734 123 4560. Now I'm going to be introducing my fantastic guest. On my left we have Justice. What are we going to call you? Judge?
David, the show goes by.
Okay. He's very modest, so he doesn't want us to call him a judge or justice, but he's a solicitor barrister, and his law firm is called TNA Solicitors, and his name is David Ash. Thank you very much, David, for introducing yourself. That was absolutely fantastic. I'll also be going to my right with Victoria, who's going to be saying a little bit of herself and how she became, an immigration consultant. Hello, Victoria. Thank you for coming to the program.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Victoria, and I work with David, and I've been in immigration law for about 8 years. Before coming to TNS Solicitors, I worked for Shepherd Citizens Advice Bureau and helped a lot of people there with different immigration categories. But working at TNS Solicitors, that's where I came into my own. We deal with very difficult cases and help a lot of people, and I love my job there. Thank you. So I'll try to help you, ask me questions, and I'll do my best to help you as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria. First of all, I want us to talk about certain issues that is mind-boggling at the moment regarding the prices, the amount they're asking people to pay to do the, especially for the indefinite leave, and how expensive it is and stuff like that. So I need for you to let the public know, especially the African community and the viewers watching us, to understand why it's so high, because there's been a petition about people, that's been going around for the price reduction for people to pay to get their stay, to get, things done on an immigration issue. So can you tell us more about it? What's going on?
Well, through 8 years of my experience as immigration lawyer, I have noticed rise every single year in fees and that is on people because it's extortionate. I cannot tell you why the fees are so expensive. Home Office policy is if you want to stay in the UK, you have to pay. So it's a good thing there is a petition going out there and people need to do something about it, because Home Office caseworkers don't really improve the quality of their work, so it's not justified.
It's quite worrying now, because you have a family of 4 or 5 that it's the full amount they're meant to be paying now is about £10,000, or because I'm told it's about 1,000 something now. And they're also planning to increase it. Somebody sent me something, I might want to read it out. It says, immigration healthcare subcharge, NHS fees for Home Office application is going to be increased from £200 to now £600, triple increase per year. The implication of this is that people who presently paid £500 for 2.5-year leave for immigration healthcare subsidy will be paying $1,500 per person. It's, what's going on?
Worrying.
It is quite worrying. And they may say if you and 2 children want to make an application or extend your leave, you first pay 4,500 for NHS fees when you still need to pay home office fees separately. So what's going on?
Well, let me put your mind at rest. If you're lucky enough to have enough application money for application fee for settlement, you do not need to pay this immigration surcharge.
Okay.
Okay. So this is only for extension applications or for entrance applications coming here for more than 6 months.
Okay. Is that for an extension? Say for instance you're here for 6 months and you decide to want to stay further for like 2 years or more.
Then you need to pay.
You need to pay the
If you're only
amount.
coming to visit up to 6 months, you don't need to pay this
Okay.
house charge. However, Home Office is providing a fee waiver application to people that cannot afford. And alongside this fee waiver application, you can ask to waive the fee for immigration surcharge as
Oh,
well.
that's good.
You need to provide evidence that you cannot pay, obviously your bank statements or that you're on benefits or low income or disability benefits. But there is a way to waive this fee.
Okay. So it's not basically that, it is a compulsory thing. If people don't know what to do or information, then they will probably think that they need to pay an extra amount of money. But say for instance, I was going to ask you about if you're an overstayer as well. And what are the rules or regulations now for an overstayer? I'm told now is you have to be in the country 20 years or more, or is it reduced and
Yeah, the new rules are you have to be 20 years if you're here illegally or mixture illegal and legal stay. However, if you have family members, if you have children born in the UK, you don't have to wait 20 years. You can make a human rights application
Okay.
on Article 8
Okay.
to remain here. So you don't necessarily need to wait 20 years.
Okay, like I said, because everybody there's this confusion about that. But if you don't have a child here, and obviously you have to wait. You have to.
If you're on your own, if you are not married, you haven't got children, yeah, you have to wait 20 years.
What about the children? What about the issue with the kids? How do we, the children issue? Because some people find that they're saying 7 years for the children. Is it true, or has it gone? Have they reduced it to 5 years, or is it going up to 10 years?
Well, currently the situation is your child must be a British citizen
Okay.
or be in UK for 7 years. So a lot of people don't know if their children are British citizens. So they need to check this issue first. If definitely the child is not British.
So when did they become a British citizen? Is it at 7 or 10?
Sometimes you're a British citizen by descent or
Okay.
simply being born in the UK in
Okay.
particular situation. The law on British nationality is very complex, so you need to look into different questions, different situations to
Or
know
mitigating
for sure.
circumstances and all
Yes,
that
yeah.
stuff, discretion for you to be. And what about living partners? Sorry, I'm not ignoring you, David.
No, I understand.
But because she's an immigration consultant. We are going to come back to you in a minute. But I wanted her to answer, to talk about quite a few questions, a few things where people I know would probably be phoning and watching the program, will be listening to and be asking on later on. So, because we have a scenario of a lady, which we'll come back to anyway, we'll talk about her issue, who had inboxed me and said, that this was her situation and how is she being helped. So we want to talk about the criminality, like, say for instance, because there's been stop and search where people are going on the street, they just stop them and, search them, and then the next thing they go into detention and all that stuff. So what are the rules and regulations? What are they supposed to do? Because many people are now in detention and some have been deported. So we need to know more about it,
Well, I can say if you're in such a situation, first of all, you need to find a lawyer, a good lawyer. and they will be able to advise you if you are unlawfully detained or unlawfully imprisoned. There are remedies for that, so you need good legal advice.
Which is the remedies is more of human, because my background is more of human rights, employment and family law, which I was talking about. And in some cases, I've been in a little situation where I've been helping some families on a mitigating issue, even though that's not, my line is not immigration. But I wanted to know, how does that work with the human rights on your session as an immigration consultant? How do you then, when we have the rules and regulations of immigration, and then we have where it then crosses over to human rights. So how then do you, because you just mentioned something about being, if, say for instance, you have to find the remedies regarding, each what was that? What was the word I was looking for? Okay, when mitigating circumstances, different situation. So how does then that, do you then bring the human rights into it to help, a particular client or a person, an individual, and the family who has an issue with immigration status in the country?
Well, immigration law is very tight with human rights law. Okay. As immigration consultant, I have to know human rights law
Exactly,
as well.
yes.
Because the issue can arise of asylum, so you have right not to be tortured, right not to be killed under Article 2. The issue can arise with the family, so you have family in the UK, so obviously Article 8 will be engaged. And for those applications, there is this fee waiver application. If your human rights are involved,
Yes, which is being violated.
yes, you can make this application and you can waive this fee as well if obviously you can prove that you haven't got money to pay.
Okay. Now, the big exit that just happened recently, and a lot of people that I know who have been married to people from the European countries and stuff, how does the new big exit affect them? What are their rights, the legal rights, the immigration rights now? Is it going to affect them in the nearest future? Are they covered? Or what then happens for somebody who is married to, somebody from the EU and they're no longer private? Because at the moment now with the situation, minus the fact that there is an election coming up in the UK, how does that affect an individual whose partner is an EU citizen?
It is a worrying situation, but unfortunately at the moment we do not know. Government is assuring us there is nothing has changed regarding EU nationals. They're still able to come in, they're still able to work, study. So we just have to wait and see what policies will be put in place. However, there's always transitional provisions, so what I would advise somebody who has EU nationality is to secure their residence in UK by applying for registration certificate, for permanent residency certificate, and if you can, and you can afford it, for British citizenship, if that's where you want to stay in the UK. For now, we just have to wait and see what the government will put into place, but it will always be time to do something about it.
Okay.
It won't be a case where they will be deported, they will be cut off,
Will they have to then be the same rules and regulations with the UK, the Home Office? Yes?
Yeah,
Sorry, you know what? I'll get David to answer this.
No, just to add on to what Victoria said about people from the EU, as we know, Brexit is in place. It's not clear as to where we're going to. But at the same time as well, one of the major problems that people have is that even as an EU national, there's a limitation to your right if you're not exercising your right of movement. And what do we mean by your right of movement? You must be in work or effectively be looking for work.
Okay, so that means you have to be actually in work in the UK.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you go back to your country, are you then still treated like somebody who lives using, you know, because you know that most of this, the EU, they are already here in the country.
Yes.
And they live here. So how does that, are they then treated as, you know, do they have a different application? You know, because of the brick estates, because it is quite worrying that, say for instance now that, you know, the UK is out of the, you know, the EU, and the rules and regulations now stands on as a British immigration law,
Yeah.
which is totally different from when you had the European Union law. So how does that affect those who are, you know, basically EU in the country? They're already married to an EU, they've become EU citizen. Do they then have the same legal immigration rights as those who are in the UK?
The assurance that Parliament is giving everyone is that they will not be adversely affected.
Okay.
What that means is down to Parliament to explain when and after this coming election.
Okay.
Because that's when they will then be able to break down what Brexit is all about. As it stands at the moment, the EU nationals that are here are safe, but the safety is limited to you being able to change your status. It will be wise for anyone who holds an EU nationality at the moment to think of having to transmit themselves into a resident permit or a citizenship.
Okay, so it's better. So what you're saying is they need to technically,
Effectively, yes.
effectively put themselves in a place where they are citizens of the UK.
Yeah, so that they can be safe.
So they can stay here. So that means it's like nationalizing themselves from EU, or is that?
Yeah, if that's the option, there are two options there. You can have your leave to remain, which will give you the right to remain in the UK.
Okay.
You can also nationalize and become a British citizen. It's the option that you choose. It's down to you to then be able to. But for you, because if you're looking at an African who is relying on an EU nationality and is thinking of, I want to remain in the UK, then my advice would be start thinking of where do we go from here.
Okay. So that means that basically they need to. There's another thing that was on the news a while ago about this Jamaican lady who has been in the country for more than 24 years or something, that was deported recently because they did not renew their status. I don't, what does that mean? That they didn't renew their status. Can people still get deported even though they've been in the country, they've basically lived all their life here, and then suddenly because they, you know, the passport that they were using in 50, no, not 24 years, 56 years or something, they were, I read it somewhere, well, in the news, that the person was actually deported back to Jamaica, to the West Indies rather.
What I find with the news, they only show you one side of the story, so you don't know the full picture.
Okay.
You don't know what was behind. Usually, people's criminal record are being deported. So it's quite unusual that she's been deported after such a long residence here.
It could also be the case. It could also be the case that before now, Home Office don't keep records. And that's one thing that people should understand. Victoria mentioned.
I can't even, you know, you can't keep a lot of records. After a while, I think they get destroyed or something.
Yeah. But Victoria mentioned something earlier. One of the things that people need to check is, what is my status in the UK? You know, 24 years ago, you can walk into the UK from Jamaica, from any of the Commonwealth countries, and then you just got stamped at the airport.
Yes.
Some people have leave to enter and not the leave to remain.
Yes.
The changes that has happened within immigration rule, within the period of leave to enter and leave to remain, has become so enormous. Some countries still have the right to leave to enter. Like Australia, when you come into the UK from Australia, you have a leave to enter and you can remain here, not knowing that you don't have the right to remain in the UK.
So it's more like the one that happens in America, where you have 90 days
to stay.
3 months.
Yeah.
Where, you know, with the British, you go there, you stay there for after 3 months, then you can, can then apply for a working permit and all that stuff. So it's the same thing with most of the Commonwealth.
In those days.
Oh, I see. So can you tell me, you know, the Commonwealth, there was this thing that, you know, that Commonwealth countries should not be giving, you know, immigration issues or status because they're part of Commonwealth, that they should be allowed to come into the country freely, like the EU, because there was a controversy about that. I think a year or two ago regarding that. There was even a stage match in front of the High Commission in Nigeria, Nigerian High Commission, you know, pertaining to that. So tell me more about it. What do you think?
The truth is, every nation guards its borders. And one of the big mistakes that African leadership is having is that they don't guard their borders. So every Tom, Dick and Harry comes into Africa and do anything. But nations have a right to guard their borders. And immigration control is part of the way borders are being guarded.
Okay.
So where you then have an issue because we've been Commonwealth and therefore you think I have a right to enter this country freely, you need to understand that changes do happen. As the world is evolving, so are nations also evolving. And as nations are evolving, remember, it is business. They will only allow you because of the interests
of the country,
not any other thing. If not, everybody can walk in. I mean, you look at the word globalization.
That's true.
The world is a global village, but it doesn't mean that I can wake up and go to Romania and stay.
You know, I don't know whether you've heard this. There was something to do with United being a citizen of the world. I saw it. You will not believe it's on Google. You can actually apply to be the citizen of the world.
Yes.
Where you can then go and live in any country.
But you have to.
By United Nations.
You need the United Nations permit to do that.
Yes.
And they will give that to you. That's applicable. That's there. But they only give that to you
I don't
because
think a lot of people know this.
They'll give that to you if you have an international interest.
I see.
There is something that you're giving internationally. There's some people in the world today that they are citizens of the world and they travel around the world. But they have to. You have to have something that you're giving.
I see. So it's more of you giving much to
whichever community you're going
to. Maybe I will apply for that now. To be a citizen of the world. Now there was a client, somebody who inboxed me regarding an issue. And I wanted you to please advise that person while we wait for people to phone in. And he has been in the country for more than 20 years. And what had happened was he had a daughter, and unfortunately the relationship broke down, and then she went and reported into Home Office that he wasn't responsible, which was not true. So he's been around for a long time, but then they ended up not, because he had his papers in the Home Office, and I think he got turned down because of that. But I'm wondering, because of the 20 years mark and the fact that he's schooled here, he's done a lot of stuff in the UK. How would he be able to get help? Instead of, you know, he's lived all his life here. Literally, he came when he was a little kid. So now, because of the relationship issue, so what advice can you give, or how do we help this person?
Well, first of all, is you need to look at the refusal letter.
Okay.
At the Virgin. Why exactly he was refused? It's his daughter that phoned you.
No, it wasn't his daughter, it was the ex-partner.
Okay.
And this has been happening quite a lot with a lot of people. You have like, if it's the man, because he's not looking after the child, the ex-partner phones in and let them know that he's not, he's not doing his bit. And if the one that is doing his bit, unfortunately, he doesn't get the chance to spend time or stay in the country with the daughter or the children.
Well, usually this is one being a reason why Home Office will refuse the application. Okay, it may influence them, but this is not the reason they can quote in the decision letter. So first step will be find the immigration lawyer and let them have a look at the refusal letter and work on that issue. Okay, because he is entitled to apply for right to remain after 20 years here, subject to showing that he's been here every single year. It's a lot of evidence, so you will have application like that for each year, proving that you've been in the UK. And then focusing on why he was refused and arguing that point, disproving that point.
Okay.
It's difficult to say without looking at actual
But
decision.
yes, what do you mean? I think what we're going to do is, because he's also watching the program, please get in touch so that I can pass on the message, information, and how to get in touch with Victoria and David so they can be able to help you. And there's another one as well regarding the daughter. Well, they have the child when she's going to be 7 this year, I think. But before then, they both don't have, you know, papers. They're not in the immigration status. So they're not from both of them have issues regarding their, you know, their status, the immigration status. And then they had a child that died when she was pregnant for the first child. And then the child died during childbirth. Now, they're trying to seek compensation. But because of the fact that they do not have the, you know, they're illegal, but although they've got their papers in the Home Office at the moment, trying to sort something out, how do they then go about it? Because they're trying to say that because of the daughter, who should have been 7 years before, you know, after that they've had other kids. But because the 7 years stretched back and stuff, and they lost a child, aren't they going to be able to get it through mitigating circumstances? Or what do you think? Or what do they need to do?
Well, first of all, the application is still being reviewed by Home Office.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So they have status in some way,
Okay.
because they're
They have
doing
not
something
yet
about
refused
it.
them, yes.
Yeah. So it will give them some ground to argue compensation.
Will they still be able to get it though? Because I thought compensation is by law 7 years, or is it how many years for compensation?
You're talking of statute of limitation.
Yeah, of limitation.
But it depends on what the case is.
Okay.
If they put this case of compensation
Yeah, I think it
across,
was on hospital negligence, and she ended up losing the child.
so have they put this case before the NHS?
Well, maybe because of the fact that of the situation.
The
So
immigration
they don't-
status does not prevent them from
Okay.
claiming compensation.
Okay.
Because it's a two different thing entirely.
All right.
The fact that they've been let down by the system, they have every legal right, whether status or no status, to challenge the people that have let them down. So if NHS has failed in their duty, let's assume that they've come from abroad to have a child in the UK, and the child died because of the negligence of NHS. They have every legal right to claim compensation for that child that died. But if what they need to have done basically is to take steps to get across to NHS.
Yeah.
There's a health ombudsman. I think there's an health ombudsman which they can write to, and they can look into it, because that's their own job. And they will look into it and then be able to address the issue of their compensation. And that will also, in a way, assist them or help them in their immigration application. Because if the Home Office can have evidence from them that they were let down by the NHS and they were basically pursuing compensation with NHS, it might be a way for them it might be an added evidence to assist with their application for immigration status.
Because I've told them, I think the lady is a bit worried that they're saying that, you know, they can't do anything. They try to cover up the incident, which happened, I think, in a hospital outside of London.
Yeah, but that's what happened, because when the first stage is to make a complaint to the hospital. If the hospital has failed you, they will advise you that go to the ombudsman. and then you need to make a case to the ombudsman. If you're not
Because
satisfied with the ombudsman,
a human being
if
died.
you're not satisfied with the ombudsman decision, you can then take further challenge.
Okay.
But if you've not taken those steps, then you cannot conclude that they've torn you down.
Okay. So I hope you're listening to the advice that you've been given. First of all, you need to go to the hospital, try and see if you can make an official complaint, a formal complaint. The threshold for making complaints like that, I think is 10. Is it 7 years or 10 years? Or is it that?
I will just say, don't look at the threshold.
Okay.
Put in your complaint because it's still something that bothers you.
Okay, I stated put in your complaint and then take it from there, because that might also help you to be able to put your case together for your immigration status in the country. And also, the last on the list is about somebody who was married. Basically, this person married a citizen, and what had happened was the marriage did not, last. And then, there was a big fallout, the whole thing. And in between, I think he had the 2 years, the 2 years they're giving them. Is it 2.5 years that they're getting now?
2 years.
Okay, 2.5 years. And he now, because they're on a divorce process, how does he then still, is he allowed to then continuously apply to get the 2.5 years? Because he wants to know if he's allowed to do the 2.5 years continuously, or otherwise, because the situation is so bad, they cannot be in the same place, they cannot be in the same room, they're cursing each other.
Well, you have to look into if there were any issues of domestic violence.
Exactly, and I think he was unfortunately, it was the man who suffered the domestic violence. And there were evidences and proof that I saw with my eyes that, he showed to me how she was very aggressive and she kept on hitting him and all that stuff. But having said that, even though they're going through a divorce and stuff, like, she also counterclaimed that, he was also violent to her. So, which is, in a situation like that, is quite difficult, because obviously, even if he's not that violent towards her, she would have tried to make sure that because of the situation, he might not be able to get his papers anymore. So how does he then, is he allowed to still apply for 2.5, or what happens after that,
If he has very good evidence of domestic violence, like police caution against her, the lady is a British, isn't she?
Yes,
yeah.
the lady is the British.
So police caution against her, or court order against her. This is very good evidence. A medical report to show that he sustained bruises from her, violent behavior. He can apply for settlement as a victim of domestic violence.
Do they give them immediately after 2.5 years, or does he?
Immediately.
Oh, really?
And it's free of charge. And it's available under legal aid.
Wow. Okay.
But you do need very good evidence. So if you made a report to police about this incident, it must go further. It cannot just stop at the police report. Unfortunately, we've noticed that it needs to proceed to police caution against the perpetrator, or even go to court to stop her from non-molestation order, something like that.
Of the sort of like making sure that he or she, not just for the man also, because I know women who are in a relationship with somebody who has got, who are British and stuff like that, who have got definitely to women who are abusing towards their partner as well, because of the fact that they know that the partner haven't got any papers, and the fact that they're the ones trying to help the, marry the person and all that stuff. So it also goes for women as well, not just men.
I think I might butt in a bit there.
Yeah.
Men, so many men have been victims of domestic abuse on the issue of immigration.
Yes.
And these, I think it will be helpful for anyone that is watching and is listening now. If you're a man and you're relying on your partner, whether Nigerian, African, or English, and your wife is abusing you because she knows that you are reliant on the status, on our status to remain in the country, you've been advised there's a step you can take. The most important thing for you is to ensure that you get a non-molestation order. It's a very important thing, because if most time, and this is easy, men will think, oh, if I tell the police, they won't believe me.
Yes.
And this is where the problem is. You need to be able to open up and tell the police that, look, I've been a victim in this. It's down to you to report. It's not down to the police to believe you or not. It's down to you to report.
With valid evidence. Not just because you want to be, you as a man is also equally abusive to this partner, and then maybe you then think, okay, when she reacts, then you record her, because that has happened to somebody that I know. Then you record her, then you take that, and then you go to the police station and say, oh, she's the one who's been abusive towards me, just because you believe that is the way for you to. It doesn't work that way, because sooner or later you will get cut out. So by trying to lie to get papers or to try and get your status in the country, you will be followed out. Because there was a video that went viral, I don't know if you heard it, about this guy who was abusive towards his wife when she was trying to say to him to look after the kids. And he then, made it and playing that it was only with her because of her status, and once he gets it, that's it. So things like that is wrong, and we're not here to preach about it. We're here to help those who truly need help, who wants to, who are genuine cases that really are desperate to know what their legal immigration rights are, so that for them to be able to work towards it, instead of having people who will just use it as a fake thing because they want to stay in the country. You will find out, and that's the truth. But having said what you just said, I wanted to also ask, when business owners, how can they help themselves to get into the country? Say for instance, if you've got a good business, or maybe you're, at the moment you're not, your status in the country. How does that, because I'm told that you have to have like £50,000 to be able to set up a business in the country.
Yeah, it's not 50,000 anymore, it's 200,000 if
Uh-oh.
you're applying from abroad. 50,000 remains for students, tier for students who want to set up business.
Okay.
So they can go with 50,000, but it needs to go through particular schemes. Okay. If you want to invest your own money, it will be 200,000. So you can set up a business or buy existing business here.
All right, let me ask you, talking of the students as well, how this, because there's been a lot of cuts backs on the students' visa, not being able to work. How is that still on, or are they, are they giving them an opportunity to have working permits, or has that been totally cancelled?
As far as I know, they're still able to work part-time, okay, and there are a lot of opportunities for students finishing their studies, switching into Tier 2.
Okay, what's Tier 2?
Tier 2 working visa, where you obtain sponsorship from employer who must have license, Tier 2 license, and they're given a lot of lineage. Basically, they don't need to satisfy labor tests or other requirements. Yeah, so Tier 4 students that just finished their studies find a job as a Tier 2 license holder, and you will be able to switch.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do they have to then find some sort of like a job pertaining to their course, or they can go out of the course to, to get a job? Does it have to be any job, or it could be, Because all these things that you ask, unfortunately, I know quite a few people that has been having a lot of issues, and I wanted you to please, because they're watching the program. I know some people have, they're trying to call in as well. So I want us to be able to address one or two issues. regarding the student, because this is another thing that I know that a lot of Africans struggle with without knowing what their legal rights are.
Well, Home Office policy is set up for Tier 4 students to go into the same area what they just finished studying.
Okay.
Okay. But I've known for some of my clients, it works just as well with whatever they can secure, any job they can secure. It just make sure it's
How many hours?
Tier
Is it
2
full-time
license
hours,
holder.
or is it full-time hours? Is it 20 hours? Is it 16 hours? If they're students, what's their entitlement to have a work permit? Is it 16, 20, or full-time? Say for instance they can work part-time in the evening.
No, it must be full-time and his specific salary threshold as well.
Okay, which is
I will not tell you at the moment.
okay. All right, that's fine. But can I also ask you this? Can they then say, for instance, they've come in as an international student, if they want to then change course? Say, for instance, they came in to do their masters. Can they still be entitled to stay in to do their PhD? Or if they come to do a degree, can they then do their masters? Can they apply to do their masters? Can they apply if they can afford it? Or what is the, what is the club between it? Is it until when they finish the other program, they have to go back and reapply again? How does it work?
So they can apply in the UK. Just make sure that you apply before your existing visa expires, because you don't want to become an overstayer. So you'll need to look for, again, Tier 4 holder, license holder, if you want to move on from PhD into Masters. So before your visa expires, make sure you secure the sponsorship, or it's certificate of status.
Yes,
Yeah.
the certificate of status. Yeah.
So you secure that. You just keep an eye on that visa expiry date, because it's really, really important. If your visa expires, it will be very difficult. You will have to come out of the UK and reapply again.
Okay, to reapply again. Okay.
Tired.
I'm so okay. The thing is, our lovely guest is giving us fantastic information, and what we're going to be doing is, we're hoping, because a lot of people, I think they're trying to call in as well. So, is there any caller? Somebody's just said, okay, I think they've dropped the phone. Anyway, what we're gonna be saying to you guys out there is that you've heard quite a lot of information. This is for you to ponder on, and further information and details will be sent to you. You can have a look on the streamline. The firm is called T&A Solicitors, and they're actually based all over the UK. And their telephone number, you can actually reach them on, is 01303 243 500. I repeat, 01303 243 500. And when you call it, they do every Wednesday. They do have office. What do you call it again? Immigration consultant, free.
Immigration advice.
Yes, immigration advice for 30 minutes. So you can call them up and speak to them regarding the issues at hand, some of the things you're not able to speak to us online about. And for those of you who have inboxed or sent messages to make inquiries regarding your issues, we're able to address it. But for further information, please go on their website also, which is www.tnasolicitors.co.uk. They are based all over the UK. So basically, you can find them in Folkestone, they're in Dover. They're still trying to get a branch in London. My brother here is still trying to. He likes it outside of London, but there's nowhere you are in the UK that they cannot help you. And it's good to have them on the program. They've come and they've actually been able to give you guys a lot of information pertaining to immigration issues among the African communities, not just the African community, I must say, all over, different communities denominations in the UK. So they're not just based on helping African communities alone. So if you guys need any help, do not hesitate to get in touch with them or inbox me or get in touch with the Heritage customer line or the information email, which is strolling down the streamline at the moment for us to be able to help you. Thank you very much. We're going to wrap up the program now because we need to go now. Our lovely guest is extremely tired. They've actually done well. They came all the way from, where did you guys come again? Folkestone. Can you believe that? Folkestone. They came all the way from Folkestone to see you lovely viewers of ours, and they were able to, you know, answer, and they're still going back to Folkestone. Folkestone is very far. It's like it's living in Scotland. That's a lot of far place.
They're not that far.
Oh my
goodness.
Scotland. Yeah, this is the reason why you must have a branch here, Justice Ashobogu. You know, he has to. And, you know, thank you very much, guys, for watching the program. Hopefully next time we're going to have another fantastic topic to talk about. And basically, we'll let you guys know about it. And then you can phone in. You can still get in touch. Please leave all your information. You can still get in touch on the comment box of the live program. And let us know what your comments are. And also, if you want to ask questions, please feel free. Thank you very much for watching the Facts of Life with Abbilicious, where the truth is being said or told the way it is. See you guys next time and have a fantastic week.
Turn you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.